Maydaan Archery Club Australia. The first thought of it was how to raise better Muslims.
The beauty about Maydaan is the culture that it brings.
We're trying to teach people to care what's next to their shoulders as opposed to what's between their shoulders.
The Prophet ﷺ have said, the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak one, although in both of them there are goodness.
And that's why we do it the way we do it. Because it's ultimately the end goal should be Jannah. Not the bullseye, not just the bullseye, but Jannah. My name is Ahmed Karat. I am founder and president of Maydaan Archery Club. Maydaan means field in Old Persian, but also Arabic, and also many other languages in Bosnian. Where I grew up, every city has an area called Maydaan. And in the Ottoman period, it could be an Ok Maydaan, meaning arrow field, an At Maydaan, horse field, an Er Maydaan, wrestling field, and so on. Archery, obviously, it's about emptying one's mind, learning how to control the mind. Club means community, bringing people together. And in Australia, it means identity, meaning bringing something to the Australian culture and beautifying it with your own. Because that's ultimately what Australia is. We all came from somewhere and we're all contributing something higher to it. Because the Muslim is like rain. Everywhere he falls, he should benefit. The idea of Maydaan Archery Club Australia is to benefit and beautify our own nation and community. I learned archery for 10 years. My professor in university, he was actually from America, so he had a strong compound background. And he was also a teacher of fiqh, amongst other things. May Allah bless him. He said, you should try archery. It's good for the mind. So I got into compound shooting and I did it for about 10 years. And I used to think I know it all. I used to be able to pull apart a compound, put it together. I thought I knew it all. And then one day I read a book. On the book it says written in 15th century. Later they discovered a copy of that book in Topkapi Saray in Istanbul, 13th century, written by a Muslim Mamluk. And when I read it, I closed it and I said, I know nothing about archery. I start again. So that was what really made me realize the way that he broke down archery in its form so well. That's what really blew me away. And it was kind of a spark that made me go on this journey and really deep dive and do research and go and seek this knowledge abroad. And the element or the seed or the first thought of it was really how to raise better men and how to raise better Muslims, better humans at the end of the day. Now it's very important to address these points and to understand what is going into the mind and what is going into the body. Because most people misunderstand that. Archery is one of those sports where the mind should control the body, preferably. And diving is one of those sports where the body should control the mind. It's as if you are wrestling your body and your mind. It's very important to understand when is it your mind that's in control and when is it that your body is in control. Having the maturity to realize that. Because then you realize how important it is for my mind when you get afraid, when you start to do these things, to get back into it, get back into control.
My name is Ahmed Maeno. I've been involved with Maydaan for a few years now. Essentially, Maydaan is an archery club, a traditional archery club, primarily focused on the Seljuk and Arabian and Ottoman archery periods. The bows that they use and the techniques that they use and the focus in terms of how they train is very, very different to what you'd class as modern archery or traditional Western archery. The club has grown exponentially over the years, from a couple dozen people to I think over 400 or 500 now. And I believe it's one of the, if not the largest traditional club in Australia. The beauty about Maydaan that I found is the culture that it brings and the people it attracts, and everyone feels welcome here.
I see Maydaan as a canvas, a place of bridges, where people come together as equals, where people can come and belong, where parents can come and help with raising their children, because it takes a village to raise a child. They can leave their troubles behind and find serenity and peace, where they are safe, where they can just shoot arrows, forget about their problems, and then go back to their life.
My name's Abdul Basit, and I'm one of the archers that attend Maydaan Archery Club. So the day starts like any other Sunday. We have what's called our Putakesh class, or the advanced class. That runs from 7 to 8. It is our Ustad teaching us. The next hour it travels down to the Torbakesh class, or the intermediate, and we then try and impart the knowledge we learnt onto them. It trickles down to the beginners and to the introduction you saw earlier, and very much so the club's about giving back. Today, the special guest, we found out yesterday, and we're like, oh, we've got to do a barbecue for him. Get him introduced to the club, and Stan essentially rated us to say, let's give him a demo or a presentation, something that he'll take with him and remember for the rest of his life, to leave a memory that, yes, there are Muslims in Sydney practicing a lost sunnah, and there's hope.
Sheikh Ahmed Maeno, he is a scholar from Japan, and he studied in Damascus in Syria. And we know that Damascus is a Mubarak place. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allahumma barik fi Shamina wa Yemenina. Oh Allah, put barakah in the Sham and the people of Yemen. So when a scholar comes from Yemen or Sham, we stand up and we greet them and we welcome them. From every distraction. The hardware part of archery requires 5 things: the bow, the string, the arrow, the ring, and the archer. That's the hardware. The software we need, it's from the Holy Quran. On the Battle of Badr it was mentioned that you require sabr and taqwa. Sabr in archery, you have the sabr of the physical, the sabr of the mental, and the sabr of the external. Just like in life, you have the sabr of ada' al-wajibat wa ijtinab al-muharramat, and the balance of having sabr on external things. Somebody dies, you lose money, you get sick, etc. Same in archery. And the taqwa description of archery is that your hand, heart, and eye don't waver from your target. So this is the software side. We have a hardware.
So, as you know, brothers and sisters, I myself coming from Japan, and you are probably, most of you, born and brought up in Australia, as well as the Muslims as a whole, because of the westernization in the world, people have been drawn to the modernization and urban lives and so on, but they have also reached its peak and experienced its limits. They have come to notice that having the peak of westernization doesn't lead you anywhere but loss of the spirit and fruitful life. As you know, the Prophet ﷺ have said, narrated by Imam Muslim, on the authority of Sayyidina Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, المؤمن القوي خير وأحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف وفي كل خير. The strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak one, although in both of them there are goodness. So mashallah, you brothers and sisters are practicing the way to be stronger believers. So may Allah bless you and grant you all the goodness and success.
My name's Jannah. I'm the secretary of Maydaan Archery Club. I pretty much grew up with the sport. So because I entered the sport really early on and have gone through many stages of life since then, much of who I am is as a result of the club and the upbringing of the club. Having said that, the one thing that surprised me the most that I learnt from archery is just that it continuously humbles you. The second that you start to think that you've understood something, you realize that you know absolutely nothing about the topic. So it's constantly teaching you that learning in general is both lifelong and at the same time to have that balance between having confidence and at the same time having humbleness.
The concept of Maydaan and teaching at Maydaan, one of the hardest things for me to come up with was the leveling structure, because a lot of this is, in essence, it was lost because it used to be quite secretive and it wasn't taught to everyone, and it was mainly in the military circles as well. So some of it was documented, but it was hard to find something that is going to be fitting, one, our community, and two, in the West, because you've got segregation, you've got other challenges. So the way that we start is, Maydaan is a non-for-profit, meaning I pay membership, everybody else pays membership. And you pay that membership to come for the rent of the oval and the equipment and the insurances and everything else. But when you come to learn at Maydaan, then this is when I charge. And the charge is not money. The charge is whatever time I spend with you, you have to spend back in the club. Because my KPIs are not how many students I make, it's how many teachers I can make. So my goal is to spread this and make it a sadaqah jariyah. And you can't do that unless you invest in people and building good culture.
So the culture of the club is to always give back. Irrespective of what level you are, there's always something that you can contribute to. So it's this constant circle of self-dependency where you are training up people not just to be archers, but ultimately teachers. Because the best way to learn is to teach.
You can think of the kids, for example, that come with behavioral issues, and archery teaches them the art of sharpening the mind, for example. Those with ADHD or a fiery personality helps calm them down, or even the quiet ones. Generally, they'd stick to themselves and not socialize. It gets them happy to come outside and join. And more specifically, I think what matters to us Muslims the most is you making a lasting impression on someone.
Now, can I get someone to grab the loose, the tea bag? There's a massive tea bag. Now, when it comes to these matters, from now, I'm not going to say a name. You guys are going to volunteer.
Well, Maydaan's not just an archery club. It also teaches crafts. It teaches tradition. It brings people back to their historical roots, especially most of the members here which are Muslim. It helps them understand who they are and what they've done. And not just reading something in theory, but there's also the practice. And so when you do something with your hands or you create something, it ties you into all those generations long past. With the craft section, they do leather tanning courses, they do calligraphy, sewing, basic hunting courses, bow making, arrow making, and a plethora of other courses that teaches people the many facets of the crafts that are involved in and around that of bows and archery and sportsmanship in general.
So it's built more to prop up people and create this culture of brotherhood and sisterhood, raising youth to become more well-rounded individuals and adults that can contribute positively to society. So one of the things that we mention a lot is that we're trying to teach people to care what's next to their shoulders as opposed to what's between their shoulders.
Close your eyes, release.
I think there's very limited opportunities for sports when it comes to Muslim women. And I mean from a perspective of something that's very uncompromising, in the sense that they don't need to compromise anything in regards to their aura, they don't need to compromise being around, for example, male coaches or male instructors. So to be provided a space where young girls are able to be involved in sport, and not just sport in a sense of, oh, like leisurely come and do something, in a sense that they have an entire pathway ahead of them into a competitive playing field if they wanted to. That's pretty amazing.
it's something positive. And that positivity has been lacking within our community in Australia for quite a while. We've never really had it. And the reason why we've never really had it is because a lot of the people that try and teach the religion and try and teach the people their culture has come from an avenue that does not necessarily directly appeal to the younger generation. So the fact that the club has grown so fast is indicative of the fact that the community actually wants this. It's a nourishment for the community. Because when you're sitting in the classroom and you have someone speak to you, yes, you get benefit, yes, you get knowledge, but the finite connections aren't really there. When you go outdoors and you do something with a group of people that you don't know, you begin to develop friends, and you also develop, once again, a deeper connection to your historical roots. You can see the fruits of your efforts, be it in archery, be it in self-improvement, be it in learning different hobbies and skills and sets and whatever. It helps you become a better Muslim.
Archery, sport of kings. Wrestling, sport of kings. Horsemanship, who practices horsemanship? Nobility, yes. Swimming and running, same. Soccer, football, basketball, sheep. To us, this is it. That's value. Everything else, distraction. The job of shaitan is to what? Distract. Job of archery is to what? Focus. That's the difference. And all four of them, they put you in a state of anxiety or fear. Why? Because when you're on a horse, you feel afraid. You're on this huge animal that is just muscle. When you wrestle, what do you feel when somebody pins you? You feel you're scared, normal. When you get thrown in the water and you don't know how to swim, what happens? You panic. Archery the same. When I'm in full draw and I release that bow, it explodes. It's meant to make you afraid. But the point of it is, from there, it should balance you. It should take you from that state of anxiety into a state of controlled balance. So that's what it's designed to do. And that's why we do it the way we do it. Because it's ultimately the end goal should be Jannah. Not the bullseye, not just the bullseye, but Jannah.